the kids, which is fine if you want to worry about that stuff, but really it's not the big deal because uh that's all stuff that happens after you have passed, after you're no longer with us. But right now you're still with us. Okay, so let's worry about that instead. And that's the second part of the thing that we deal with, which is long-term care, elder law, you might call it. In fact, that is what they call it, is elder law, which is really a stupid name for it because it's not more about asset protection than how old you are. Okay, so it's not really about, oh, you're elderly and so therefore you need this. I mean, let's face it, we got elderly people. We got a bunch of elderly people running the country right now. So whether it's president or the candidates for president or the people behind the people who are the president and the candidates for president and all the rest of that stuff. I mean, it's old people running the country, so I guess maybe call it a little if you want to, but for regular folks, for middle class Americans, for the people that we work with, it's not so much about being old, it's about wanting to be the boss, wanting to be in control of your life. Because guess what? You worked for that. You tried for that. You did all the good things for that. And now, when you need long-term care, when it's finally your turn to, get a little bit payback for what you paid in, then it's like, oh, no, 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 not for you. So that's what elder law is all about. We also deal with real estate and business law. And it's interesting because we had a big case in the news this week. I don't know if you guys follow the news, the stuff that they put out there. Interesting stuff. Interesting stuff. Apparently, it's bad to have a lot of money, right? Depending on who you are. So, like, if you made your money, get this now. This is you watch the news, see if this is maybe I'm going too far here. Am I going too far? Never. I don't do that. But what if? But think about it. So, what if you made your money not by creating jobs, not by building stuff? Imagine you made your money because you head faked, oh, I don't know, let's say the British, right, into currency and stuff like that, right? And you made a gazillion dollars, like cornering the market on British guilders or whatever they call their money over there, shillings and what have you. What if you made billions of dollars that way, right? Lots and lots of money. And then you said to yourself, I want to make the world a better place. Yeah, I want to make the world a better place. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to, and the cheapest politicians you can buy in America are district attorneys. Because guess what? Everybody wants law and order, right? Everybody wants that. And so nobody really fights about law and order and whatnot. Everybody thinks law and order is a good thing. So it would be cheap for me it'd be inexpensive, relatively, right? To go and buy myself some district attorneys. So I think that's what I'll do. I'll go buy some district attorneys. I'll put my money, and it won't cost me very much because I'm a smart guy. I didn't get my money by being stupid, right? I got my money by being a smart guy. So, cheating the British out of their money and what have you, shillings or guilders or whatever they call it, shekels. I don't know. Anyway, so that's how I got all this money. And now what I'm going to do, because I'm such a good, Jesus said, let the prisoners go free. And so obviously this is a very Christian thing to do. So whenever anybody gets like in prison or something, right, I'm going to let them go. And I'm going to hire people who will let them go because I'm such a wonderful human being. That just shows what a humane person I am. So if you're, if you're shoplifting, hey, that's no problem. I hear from a New York politician anyway that it's important to let people who are shoplifting go because those people are what did she say? Oh yeah, they're like stealing bread, for their families. It's kind of like, do you ever see that cartoon movie Aladdin? Remember, not the live remake, the original cartoon with Robin Williams was really funny. And the Aladdin guy, the guy you're supposed to be a hero, right? And what did he do? He stole bread. Why? Well, because he was hungry, and then he gave it to the little kids. It just shows you the people who steal stuff are really very good people, right? And you can understand that. And so that's why they're stealing the watches and the TVs and the jewelry and stuff, and beating up the cops up in New York because they're very good people. They need to get bread to feed poor people. And then they had some guy who was on this TV show. And again, I don't know if this stuff is true. What do I know? But they had this guy in the TV show, and they said, hey, you got all these organized gangs in this one city, right up in the Northeast, right? And they like steal stuff and beat up cops and stuff like that. And that's where they get their money. But you know where they go to spend it? You know where they go to spend it? Florida. I guess it's warmer down in Florida, but so it's nice down in Florida. Plus, and the one person on the TV, they were like, well, jeepers, why don't they just steal it in Florida, save themselves the price of an airline ticket or driving or something? You know what I mean? Going out in Florida all the time to spend money. And this guy said, well, in Florida, you steal stuff, they lock you up. But they don't do that in New York, thanks to this very generous, humane fella who made all his money with currency flip-flopping and stuff like this. And this guy's a very popular guy, very, very popular. I wish I could remember his name, but anyway, and he's very old, and that's what I'm saying, elder law, and it's like, well, jeepers, if you're going to hire a whole bunch of, plus he just bought like 250 radio stations or 200 radio stations or something like this. I don't know. I don't follow the news that much, but anyway, he bought all these radio stations, and so now his very charitable message, you might even say liberal message, of let the captives free. Don't even make them captives in the first place. Come on, because it's like it's kind of like your savings. You know what I mean? It's like, yeah, you piled up this wealth, but is it really yours? Shouldn't you repair? Because you took advantage of other people to get that. You know what I mean? That's what they're teaching them in colleges these days, in case you didn't know. That people who work and save and stuff like that, they didn't really earn it. You know what I mean? They did it they did it by oppressing other people. You're an oppressor. Did you know that? Yeah. And anyway, so there's rich people who finally got the message, right? They finally saw the wisdom of that. Now, how wise isn't that? If you make your money, let's see, you make your money not by building stuff, not by hiring people, but by playing games in the currency markets against the British, which is sort of like stealing candy from a baby, wouldn't you think? I mean, it's so easy to take advantage of those characters. They talk funny, and they don't have dentists over there, is what I understand. Anyway, so you made gazillions of dollars from doing that, and then hey, you just wanted to help out. You know what I mean? And let the prisoners free and don't lock them up in the first place. And so, let them, and besides, I heard on good authority that burning down police stations and stuff, at least in Minnesota, well, that's just what people should be doing, because I don't know, there were reasons for it. I forget what the reasons were, but certainly, because oppression, yeah, yeah. So anyway, we got that going on. So don't worry about the elder law, right? It applies, and there's other older people out there. It's not just the gazillionaires who are hiring people to basically put thieves, muggers, rapists, murderers. They put murderers back on the street. That's okay. Hey, just put them in another sanctuary city, because that's what sanctuary means. It means like a saving place. Isn't that positive? Very, very positive, I think, to be saving people. I think that's very good. Very good. So if you make $1 billion by basically playing numbers games in the currency markets, and you spend some of that money on buying district attorneys across the United States, well, good on you, mate. That's just wonderful. It just shows that your heart is in the right place, because you're making sure like let the captives free. I think that's just that isn't that just I think that's just the most wonderful thing in the world. So anyway, there you go. That's a little bit of, well, we'll come back to it, because there's some other things in the news involving some elderly people. And when we get back, we'll talk about that as well. You've been listening to the David Carrier Show. I'm David Carrier, your family's personal attorney. Give me a call. Why don't you? 616-774-2424. 2424. That's 616-774-2424. And of course, my luxurious surroundings today are down in Florida. Everybody keeps saying I'm on vacation, but I'm chaperoning 10 kids. So I don't know how that counts as vacation, but there you have it. I'm on vacation. Why not? Well, no, it's raining. Oh, and it's raining like constantly, not like a sprinkle and you're done with it. Like raining, like the whole frigging time. Welcome back to the David Carrier Show. I'm still David Carrier, your family's personal attorney. Okay, so we got one old white guy who made, he's white guy, sorry about that. But anyway, he made lots and lots of money, um, playing the numbers on the currency markets. And so he's a wonderful fellow. He didn't employ anybody but rich people, and he's got lots of money, and he likes to buy media companies apparently, and buy district attorneys. Or no, what am I saying? He likes to participate in the democratic process by buying by funding the campaigns of people with whom he politically identified. There you go. How about that? Nothing illegitimate about it. It's all all according to Hoyle. It's all just wonderful, and it's a wonderful guy, and this is why New York has a crime spree going on in some other states as well. And in the meantime, Florida's just fine because apparently, they do a lot of crazy things in Florida, but apparently electing district attorneys who are on the side of you might think the bad guys. Apparently, they do that in Georgia or South Carolina or someplace. They're doing that. Is it Georgia? I don't know. Anyway, someplace they're doing that too. So it's not all the Northeast. No, it's an equal opportunity kind of thing. Where you hire people who are on the side of in the back in the day, we used to call it cops and robbers. You know what I mean? Like there were good guys and bad guys. Well, not anymore. The good guys are the ones who let what we used to call the bad guys. See how illiberal we were back in the day. We judged people, and you just can't do that. You can't judge people. Not by the content of the character. Oh no, you better not do that. Don't judge them at all, because that would not be nice, and we don't want to do that. Okay, let him out. That's yeah, sure. Well, and then there's another old guy, also has a lot of money, had a lot of money, or whatever. Also, wants to. He actually got elected one time, some big office. I forget what it was. Anyway, and this guy made his money by renting housing to people. He rented housing, right? And sometimes it was long term, like apartment house, because I guess his dad was in that business, and so he took over the family business, kind of. And this was up in the Northeast somewhere, I forget where, biggest city in the world or something like that. Anyway, that was his claim to fame, and he was even in a movie. That's what I heard. He was in a movie once or twice. Anyway, this guy, what he did was he decided to put his name on like freaking everything. And yeah, I mean, he liked his name and he liked gold. He liked both of those things. And so what he would do is he would put his name on all kinds of things. And he would say that, hey, just because it's got my name on it, that means it's worth more. That's what this guy thought. Can you imagine what a horrible, horrible person this is? Building things, like employing people to build things, like hotels and casinos even, and golf courses. Can you imagine this? Like putting people to work and stuff like that. What a horrible, horrible, geez, exploiting people. That ain't right. And that ain't fair. He should have worked the currency markets a little bit more, and then people wouldn't have to. You know what I mean? Like if you're working construction, what do you got to do? You got to pack a lunch, right? And how difficult is pack a lunch? It's tough. It's not easy. And then you got to eat a packed lunch. You know what I mean? Like, like if you were playing in the currency markets, right? Then everybody's eating, French fries, the French fries cooked in duck fat. and very exclusive and stuff like that. It's wonderful. People, bring you your food and stuff like that. Did this other gazillionaire, that guy, did he do it that way? No. You know what he did? He built things. A really terrible, terrible thing, and collected rent. Can you imagine that, collecting rent? Wow, what a what a horrible guy. Horrible. Think about it. Think about how horrible this guy was. The one guy makes all his money by playing games with currencies, cheating the British, I guess, or not cheating them. No, it was fair. It was a fair fight. Of course, that's kind of like playing basketball with a baby and calling for double dribbling, right? That ain't right. Cheating the British, or beating the British, and make your money that. But looky here, did anyone have to pack a lunch to go do that? No, they all ate in restaurants. Okay, was anybody get hot and sweaty doing that? No. Well, how many industrial accidents were there, right? With that currency market stuff, zero. It's not even like a regular supermarket, because you don't even have to stock the shelves or anything. It's all computerized or something like that. So you see, you got one guy who's got a gazillion dollars, and he did it the right way, by playing games on pieces of paper and computers and stuff like that, and getting all the money from other folks, and they were rich people. They had to be, because they had money. It wasn't from lots and 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 lots of people in England and Scotland and Northern Ireland and wherever, right? It wasn't from the workers. Oh no, it was from the rich people that the other guy took his rich money from, right? So that's how that one guy did it. But this other guy, oh, what a rotten guy he was. In fact, you know what this guy did? This guy, you will not believe this. And for some people, people like this guy. Oh my, it's just amazing. People actually like this guy. I can't even believe it, but they do. Apparently, some people do. Not many. No, no, not the good people don't. The good people, when they get together in Switzerland or Sweden or whatever the hell it is, they get together and talk about big things and plan the future for the rest of us. They all don't like this guy. They just don't like him. No, which you can understand, because he deals with people who get all sweaty and stuff, building things. And there was one time, you see, in the city, this big city, and you'd think it would work, because it's a big city. It's been around like for freaking ever, and they had an ice rink, and it had gone on for like forever. I forget how long, like a million years. They were trying to fix this ice rink, and the ice rink wouldn't get fixed. It was very difficult. And this guy said, "Hey, hey, give me the contract. I'll do it for, I'll do it for 20 cents, or, whatever. I'll do it for. Oh, I'm going to get a bunch of money on this one, but I would like there to be an ice rink here. There always has been, and now for some reason there's no ice rink, and I want there to be an ice rink. What a megalomaniac, huh? Wanting there to be an ice rink just because he wants an ice rink. Well, anyway, he built this ice rink, and it cost a lot less money than they thought. You see what I mean? He must have been cheating the workers. Cheating the workers. See, that's what a rotten guy this is. So the ice rink got finished in a lot less time than they thought it would, and it cost a lot less money than they thought it would. And so that's how rotten this guy is by doing that. And you can understand why the good people don't like this guy. They do not like him. In fact, this past week, they had a judge in New York. He didn't bother with the jury. Oh no, no, no. We don't need no juries around here. We're just gonna say you're guilty. There's this movie called Alice in Wonderland. It's a cartoon. I get most of my information from cartoons. And in it, they had this person who's called the Red Queen. And the Red Queen said, verdict first, something, trial later. That's what she said. Verdict first, trial later. And that's a law thing. Sometimes you can do that. And this guy in New York did that. And he said, the only question is how bad you are. Okay. The question isn't, are you bad? It's how bad you are. And I guess, there's this trend in this big city to find this bad guy bad. Just find him bad, doesn't matter, and then let's put some money on it, like lots of money. If he says anything bad, see, if you say bad things in America, you're bad, and we're going to take millions and millions of dollars from you, because you're just that bad. That's how it works in America. You got to be careful what you say, because we're all very good people here, and Yeah. And we'll take your money from you if you say bad things. So don't say any bad things. I would never say any bad things, not me. You've been listening to the David Carrier Show. I'm David Carrier, your family's personal attorney. If you give me a call at 616-774-2424, you won't have to listen to any more of this stuff. But if you don't call me, yeah, what else do I got to work with? Welcome back to the David Carrier Show. I'm David Carrier, your family's personal attorney. Still David Carrier. There you go. Not too late to change at this point, I guess. Anyway, 616-774-2424. That's the number of call if you have a question, comment, or concern about wills, trusts, or probate. If you're wondering how do we beat the high cost of long-term care, well, you already paid for it. Why are you going to pay for it again? You know, those rich guys who made their money, trading foreign currencies, uh, they don't have to worry about it. You know, it's all paid for them. They get what they paid for. All right. So if you paid for it once, why should you pay for it again? I really don't know. I don't think you should. But give us a call anyway, 616-774-2424. Yeah, so things that have changed in the United States of America since I went to law school anyway, and obviously I haven't developed professionally ever since. Just keeping on. But I mean, here's the thing that's news to me. It's news to me that that if you make your money building things, right? And you think that you're so good at building things and doing stuff, and of course, you put everything gold plated, whatnot. You think that if you're that good at that kind of thing, that you turn, you know, um, apartment houses into gold, or hotels, or you go to the hardest part of town, Midtown Manhattan, and you decide, hey, I'm going to make something of this, and you do, right? If you think that that adds value, right? Well, who the hell are you to think that? Okay, because you might think so, and bankers might agree with you. They might say, yeah, if Dave Carrier owned that shack, it wouldn't be very valuable. But if this other guy does, whoo boy, now, well, I don't care. Whatever he says. Well, whatever he says is okay by us. Whatever this rich guy says, who develops land and does ice rinks and puts his name on everything and covers it all with gold, we're going to go with it. Okay. Because you know what? He's always paid us back. Whenever we loan him money, we get back our money, and we get it with interest. And we've never had a problem with the guy. In fact, if he wants $1 gazillion, we'll loan it to him tomorrow. No problem. And yeah, he seems to think that anything he puts his name on is automatically worth a lot more. But son of a gun, it seems to work out for him. So let's go with it. Well, thank goodness we have judges who say, no, no, no. People entering into business transactions with their eyes open. Well, but then again, here I am saying with their eyes open. Let's face it, bankers are really stupid, right? If you run a bank like in a big city, I don't know, like New York City or something like that, you must be really stupid, because anytime anybody says, "Ooh, I put my name on this, it's worth $1 gazillion," they'll just throw money at you. You try it. See, you think, oh no, it doesn't work like that. They only go with people who have a track record of success, people who manage to actually make things happen. That's what you think, but it isn't true. Actually, anybody could do it. It's just that nobody has the gumption. You see, so if you went to these big banks like in New York, and you said, yeah, everyone else thinks it's a pile of dog poo. but I'm going to put my name on it and it's going to be millions. They will give you millions of dollars because bankers are that way. You know what I mean? Financiers. They don't know what's going on. They don't have a clue, right? Um, and if you just say, we're going to call this, you know, instead of the, I don't know, Trump Tower, you call it the Carrier College or something like that. You know what I mean? Or Carrier Concourse. Let's call it that. Then they would give me hundreds of millions of dollars because they're that dumb. They're that stupid. See? And so if and then, of course, if I did that and I cheated these people, right? Because I said that this pile of dog poop was actually worth a gazillion dollars and they loan me a gazillion dollars on it, right? Then that would be bad of me. Of course, if the dog poop actually turns out to be worth a gazillion dollars and I pay all the money back with the interest, of course, I ripped off these bankers because bankers in New York are notoriously generous and stupid because they don't really know what money's worth. See, that's the thing about these New Yorkers. They have no idea, people on Wall Street. What the hell do they know? They're babes in the woods, right? They're idiots. You can't, anybody who says, if I put my name on something, then it's worth a whole lot more money, then that's fine, So there you go. Oh, also, if you see, and here's the other thing, just bad luck, I guess, with this fella. Good luck, I guess, because those bankers got paid back. The little babes in the woods that they were, stupid people that they were, right? They believed the guy when he said it was worth so much, and son of a bitch, it turned out to be. Well, there you go. Stupid bankers, New York. Anyway, if you're like a person who writes gossip columns, right, and something bad happened to you, like, I don't know, 20, 30 years ago, you can't even remember what exactly happened, okay, because they asked you a trial and you couldn't exactly remember what happened, it was that long ago, then and the guy who you're accusing it of, and guess what? By a strange quirk of fate, it happens to be the same guy who thinks putting gold on everything and putting his name on it makes it worth more. The same guy, I swear to God, it's uncanny just how amazingly coincidental this is, right? So anyway, if you say that this guy met you in a department store and did nasty things in the dressing rooms, because that's where people with lots of money, they do this thing, it's called hooking up. That's a euphemism for sex. Anyway, because rich people do that all the time. They don't go to hotels and stuff, even if they own the hotels. They go to dressing rooms in department stores. That's how that works. Okay. Well, guess what? If you say that he later on says he does not fancy you, he doesn't think you're particularly attractive, that's worth like $5 or $10 million. I forget how much. And then if later on, after they say, hey, it's worth $5 or $10 million, if you still say, the same guy then says, get this guy's a real idiot. Then he says, well, I still don't find her particularly attractive. Then you get like another 100 million or 80 million or something. I don't know. It's a lot of money. So, what a coincidence. All these new developments in the law where nobody gets hurt, but it costs you hundreds of millions of dollars, right? Then somebody says that, well, 30 years ago, something happened. I don't remember exactly what, but it was bad. And I think it was you who did it. And then you said that I wasn't your type or something like this, right? I mean, I don't really understand what the hell's going on here, but anyway, it's a great industry. It's kind of like, the foreign currency thing, because let's face it, nobody has to work. Nobody has to pack a lunch for any of that stuff, right? It's all bankers anyway. And the bankers all got paid back. So, but you see, this is where this guy's so mean. He made people work to build those things. He took that money and he hired a bunch of people and they built something, and not everybody got all the money they wanted. So they were unhappy about that. And they said, you owe me more money. But this isn't one of those big cities where people say stuff like that all the time. You know what I mean? You got to understand big city. They say lots of things there. And but anyway, now coincidentally, this one guy, he's not too happy about it because yeah, because isn't that a strange quirk of fate that it just so happened to be the same guy? Just really strange, that one. Well, you're listening to the David Carrier Show. I'm David Carrier, your family's personal attorney. If you have a estate planning, elder law, real estate, or business question, and this sort of relates to real estate and business, as well as the chances you take walking out the door in the morning, give us a call, 616-774-2424. Of course, none of these things would ever happen to good people. Good people would not get ripped off. You know, the system is not in favor of certain people and not in favor of other people. It's all very fair, because, you know, orange man bad, I guess. That's the law. That's what they say. Welcome back to the David Carrier Show. I'm David Carrier, your family's personal attorney. Now's the time to give us a call, 616-774-2424. That's 616-774 2424. So let's kind of review the bidding. Where do we stand right now? Well, we got people who fund campaigns. They do it secretly so they can deny it, right? Now this is hypothetically, of course. I'm not saying anybody's doing anything wrong. It's just that they do it in such a way that you can't lay a glove on them. Okay, you can't say, "Oh, look, this guy paid that money for that." It just so happens, though, that this fund will get some money over for that one, blah blah blah. You know, like if you were, let's say you were a politician of great influence. Okay, you had a lot of influence, right? You're a politician, and golly, they don't. And you've been a politician your whole life, and you've been associating with very wealthy people. Let's just say, okay, so you're a politician, and you have the power of life or death financially, anyway, over a lot of folks, and um, you're associating with all these rich people, but you got to like drive the train. You got to ride the train to go to work. Oh, guess what? We've got Eric on the line. Hello, Eric. Welcome to the David Carrier Show. Go ahead. Right. Yeah. So here's the deal. Eric's dad has a IRA, converted some of it, I guess, from traditional to a Roth, was taking RMDs on those. The Secure Act changed the rule, Secure Act 1 and 2, changed the rule to it used to be you have to take everything out in 5 years, right? If you didn't do a stretch out. And then what Secure Act 2 said was, Secure Act 1 and 2 said was, okay, no more of these lifetime stretch outs. You got to take everything out in 10 years. The problem was that it wasn't clear whether or not you had to take RMDs, required minimum distributions. Once you get to a certain age, and now it's what, 73, you have to take required minimum distributions on an annual basis. If you don't take them, there's a 50% tax on any amount that you didn't take. But in any event, the whole thing's got to be gone in 10 years. Now, nobody thought from reading the legislation that you would have to take out these required minimum distributions on the inherited IRAs. And whether or not, my understanding is, and Eric has heard from somebody that if the person was taking RMDs, the required minimum distributions need to go on. I don't believe that's the case. You start over again with the person who inherited the IRA. That's my understanding of the thing. Could I be wrong? Oh, I never am. But yeah, that's something worth looking into. So the question now is, do you have to take RMDs based on your own life expectancy over the 10-year period. And the problem is that when the IRS said, yes, you do, everyone was shocked by that. And so far, they've kept putting it off. Since we had the Secure Act, now it's what, 2-3 years now, and they've said, the IRS has come out and said, well, we don't really care if you take the RMDs or not, because we're going to put that off till next year. All right. So under Secure Act 1 and 2, you don't actually have to take the RMDs. But what Eric understands is that there's a ruling out there that says that if the person who set up the IRA in the first place was taking RMDs, then you have to continue. That's not my understanding of it. I haven't seen it work like that. Eric, do you have a site to that? You mean, but it's a, yeah, you're saying you have to take the RMDs, but it would be based on your life expectancy, not on your dad's. Yeah. There's no question that the regulations say that. Okay, everybody agrees that the regulations say that you have to take the RMDs, but they've put off enforcing that because all the tax practitioners are saying no, that's not in the legislation. So, and you're right. There's a split on whether you have to do it for the Roth, but I haven't heard yet that they're going to actually require it. They've just been putting it off year to year, whether or not you have to take it at all, right? I mean, so good question. I mean, yeah, well, it's not. I'm not being much help, but I tell you what, I will look into it. We'll get back to you on that. Okay, probably next week. Oh, hey, you're more than welcome. Yeah, that's a screwy kind of thing, just to say. We've got the law says one thing, and what does it mean exactly, right? When the law says, and the Secure Act says, you have to take, excuse me, the law does not say that you have to take RMDs, and now you've got the IRS saying, oh, yes, you do. Like that came as a surprise to everybody, that you actually had to do that. And they didn't, it's not like they clarified things. It's not like they said, oh, yeah, it was difficult to understand what the hell we were talking about before. Here, we'll clean it up for you. They didn't do that. They just said, nah, we're not going to enforce it just yet. I don't know. Maybe they were hoping for, clarifying legislation or something. I don't know. But it is, Eric has put his finger on something that's really important because, like I say, if you don't take an RMD, required minimum distribution, from your IRA when you're supposed to, it's a 50% tax on the part that you didn't take. And of course, for most people, when they're taking out the RMDs, the income tax is much less, and that's still all taxable. So yeah, it's really a bad deal if you don't know, if they haven't decided exactly what's going on. The last time I looked at it, though, which has been a couple of months anyway. Last time I looked at it, they had pushed it off again. But here we are in the new year, and no doubt we'll get some new information on it. You used to think the law was, you could pretty much understand it. And when I got my Master of Laws in Taxation, we had one volume of code, one volume of the statutes that Congress had passed, and two volumes of regulations that the IRS had put out. Well, nowadays, of course, I forget how many. You've got multiple times the law and the regulations, plus all the reporting services, all the rest of it. It does get to be really quite confusing, but we'll look into that for Eric and see if we can't get a definitive answer. You've been listening to the David Carrier Show. I'm David Carrier, your family's attorney. it really is kind of a screw up. Like I say, it took everybody by surprise. But it's just indicative. It's like, hey, we're going to put out regulations about what we thought we wanted to have. And the fact that later on it turns out to be something else, well, what's Congress know anyway? That's kind of the problem. Welcome back to the David Carrier Show. I'm David Carrier, your family's personal attorney, just kind of reviewing some of the interesting developments. You have to call them interesting developments in the law in this last week. It turns out that you can be liable for hundreds of millions of dollars in damages. Hundreds, lots. When the people who you supposedly damaged actually made money on the deal and were not deceived. But now in New York, in a northeastern state, let's put it that way, apparently, without a jury, you can be found liable for hundreds of millions of dollars. Yay, America! Yay, because New York is very famous for its upright rectitude and all the rest of that, right? So there's that. Also, if you did something bad years ago and the person you did the bad thing to can't actually remember exactly what happened, that's still okay. If you deny having done it, then you're liable for tens of millions of dollars. Yay! And if you're not happy with the outcome of an election and you suggest that maybe there was something untoward going on there, right? Well, then you're probably a criminal too. Can you imagine all these things all happening to the same person? It's phenomenal. It's just amazing, right? But there we are in go figure. That's the way it seems to be going. Anyway, we're not concerned about any of that. No. We don't care. Let the house burn down around us. We're concerned more about estate planning, elder law, real estate, and business law. I just saw this week. See, people get this idea. They get this idea that because long-term care is so expensive, then the people who are engaged in the long-term care must be making bank. Okay. Well, another long-term care facility chain declared bankruptcy, Chapter 11, to reorganize. You really need to understand what the hell's going on here, because it's not obvious. Okay. And it matters. I think it matters to you. Maybe you think it doesn't matter. Maybe you think, oh, my kids will take care of me. Right. Go to say, I talk to people all the time. Oh, I'll never need long-term care. Sure. Right. And don't buckle your seatbelt either. You can play, what is it, Pac-Man? You can play Pac-Man on your cell phone while you're driving. That's no big deal. You'll never get in an accident. Who needs seatbelts? Pshaw. Okay, fine, if that's the attitude. But here's the basic economics of the whole long-term care thing, in case you find it interesting. There are a lot more older folks than there are younger folks to take care of them. Okay, that's a flip-flop. When your grandma, when your parents, right, needed long-term care, they had 5 kids, 4 kids, 3 kids, 7 kids, 12 kids, right? There were a lot of kids. There were a lot of people out there to provide the care, all right? We, the people, were a lot younger overall. Just saw some statistics. You know how many new nursing homes Americans going to need? How many? 3,000. In Michigan, we're going to need 70, 68, they say. According to Census Bureau data and analysis, whatever that analysis is, they say that we're going to need 70 new nursing homes in Michigan alone. And right now, according to the statistics, right? What do they say? That numbers don't lie, but liars figure. Or figures don't lie, but liars figure. Anyway, the point is, sometimes you got to look at the numbers. You just, it's easy to dismiss this stuff, but you can see it happening. Look around. It is happening. And you can either go over the Niagara Falls, or you can figure out how to avoid it. It's very much a choice kind of thing. But here's the key. Most nursing homes, over 60% of nursing homes, right, are understaffed. They can't find the people to work, right? They turn people away. Now we need 70 new ones, 70, 70, or 68, I think is what the report said. So forgive me for rounding up to 70. Ooh, that's terrible. Anyway, 68 new nursing homes. Where are the people going to come from, right? Who are the people who are going to do this, right? The people coming across the border? Really? Give me a break. Maybe you think so. I don't know. I don't know what land you're living in if you think that's the case. But anyway, so we don't have the people to do this. We can't pay them enough money. $12,000 to $15,000 a month right now for skilled care. That's only going up, right? It's only going up because there's nobody to take care of you. That's the problem. All right, your kids aren't going to do it. You didn't have enough kids. Sorry. I mean, maybe you don't like to hear it, but that's the reality of it. You got to figure out, I would suggest that you, just a suggestion, for the last 30 years, maybe you should think about this stuff, right? Maybe this is what you should be concerned about instead of, who gets your money when you're dead. Because guess what? You aren't going to have any money when you're dead. And the reason you're not going to have any money when you're dead, right, is because you're going to give it to the nursing home first. And you say, oh, I'll never go to a nursing home. I love this. I get this in every workshop. There's always somebody. I'll never. Well, what are you going to do? Huh? It's more expensive to hire the care at home. Now, there are at-home care programs that you've already paid for. You've already paid for it through your tax dollars. And they're a lot cheaper overall, right, than going to a skilled nursing facility. Much, much less expensive because they're more efficient, okay? But you can't do it yourself. You can't replicate that efficiency. You can't do it. People think they're going to do it all the time. Well, okay, fine. So here's what I'm saying. If you're not thinking about your long-term care, you're not thinking about it now, you're not thinking, oh, that's harsh. Yeah, I'm harsh. Oh, terrible. Sorry. What do you want from me? Right? What, you want me to sugarcoat it? You want me to tell you, oh yeah, everything will be fine. Right. And Social Security's paid for. Right. And the fact that they added all these new beneficiaries onto Social Security is meaningless. Right? You want me to tell you that too? All right. Or how, here's another good one. How about, oh, Medicare's got plenty of money. Why don't we say that too? Huh? Where do you think, let's forgive the student loans. Billions and billions of dollars of student loans. Where do you think that money comes from? Oh, it's not real money. Really? Really? You think it's not real money? Well, good night, Irene. I mean, that's how we get to a $34 trillion or whatever the hell it is deficit, right? Not deficit and current spending. I mean, debt, national debt. So don't write me emails about, oh, you don't know the difference between deficit and debt. Yes, I do. Okay, so it's what, $35 trillion debt. And every year we get deeper in debt because of the deficit. Okay, how does that happen? How does that happen? And what can you do about it? Well, look, what you can do is what you've been doing, which is cutting back and making do and all the rest of this stuff. That's what you can do. That's what you've been doing. Good for you. Good. All right. That's not going to pay $15,000 a month or 16 or 17 or whatever it's going to be tomorrow. Right. And the reason, this is exactly why the nursing homes are going broke. You think, well, they're making all this money. Well, then how can they be going broke? The answer is because they're not making all this money. That's not what's going on. Everything's more expensive for everybody. And when you understand that the way that America pays for long-term care, once you're broke, the way America pays for it is through Medicaid. Now, how does that all work? How does that all work together? Right? That's what you got to be asking yourself. How do I make sure that what I want, that for my loved ones, how do I make sure that all that is going to work for us? That's really the question that you got. And the answer is by planning ahead, right? You already paid for your long-term care. You already paid for that. It's called Medicaid. Your tax dollars at work. The reason it's okay for you to get Social Security is because 30, 40 years, right, of paying in means you should get something back out. I mean, this is very fundamental, it seems like to me. And the same way with Medicare. You pay for it, you pay in, you get out. You pay, you get. Isn't that how it always works? Well, it's supposed to work that way. Usually with Medicaid, usually with the long-term care, it doesn't work that way. People who save pay more, lots more. In fact, pretty much everything that you save is now going down the tubes. But it doesn't have to be that way. Yeah, it's not stupid to save. It's a good idea. Plan ahead. Deferring gratification. Good idea. Huh? Just don't be a sucker about it. That's what frustrates the hell out of me. You've been listening to the David Carrier Show. I'm David Carrier, your family's personal attorney. Give us a call, why don't you? 616-774-2424. That's 616-774-2424. We'll get your question, comment, or concern on the air. Welcome back to the David Carrier Show. I'm David Carrier, your family's personal attorney. We've got well, if you if you want to join the show, it's easy to do. 616-774-2424. That's 616-774-2424. We'll get your question, comment, or concern on the air. We've got Bill on the line. Good morning, Bill. Welcome to the David Carrier Show. So how can I help? How can I help? Okay. All right. Okay. Okay. So let me recap. Mom just died. We were planning for Medicaid. You were planning for Medicaid. Sister is in the house on a caretaker agreement with mom. Take care of mom. Take care of the house. Okay. Got it. Right? Okay. So we got about $180,000 house, 50,000 in cash. Sister who cannot get a mortgage is in the house, living in the house, and she was caring for the house while mom was in memory care. So far, so good? Okay. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Well, there's no way to do it in a cost-free way. I mean, the one thing to do would be to sell the home. Let's say we've got roughly 250,000 altogether, 180, call it 200 plus 50,000 in cash. So it's 125,000 each. Because there's not going to be any taxes on it, right? And then the question is, oh, there's three of you? Okay, so say $40,000 each. Say it's 100 and well, 120 220,000, you know, 150,000, no, 250. Let's say it's 240,000 altogether, about 80,000 apiece. Yeah. That's Sunday morning math. Sorry about that. Okay. So about yeah, about 80,000 each. Well, you can't buy anything for 80,000, obviously. And 80,000 isn't going to pay the rent for very long. $1,000 a month. That's 5, 6 years of rent. Um, and then you and your other sibling, brother or sister, are you willing to rent the house to sister? Yeah, so here's yes. The short answer is yes. The longer answer is I would propose that you do a term for years, like you know, a 1 year lease, a 3 year lease, something like that, right? Because you don't want to get into a joint ownership situation. You do not want to do that, okay? When you're in a joint ownership, and this is what people do all the time, it's really a bad idea. When you're a joint ownership situation, then everybody has 100% right to the house, okay? So let's say your other sibling, you would never do this, but let's say you all three own it jointly, right? Well, your other sibling can move in the house with the biker gang. You know what I mean? And you can't keep them out. And nobody has to pay the taxes on it. There's no agreement. All right. This is one of those places where a trust turns out to be a very good idea because you could own it in trust. And it's part of the trust. You could all agree that the sister with the caretaker agreement has for a term of years a residence agreement. She can reside in the property and she can exclude you. You can't reside in the property, okay, while she's living there, which would, kind of typical lease sort of thing. But once you do that, right, then you can also put in, hey, and in 3 years, you got to find a different situation, okay, or you could renew it, right? But you see, what you want to do, and this is so important with all of this stuff, and it's what people they short circuit the thing, okay, by saying, oh, we'll do a joint deed, or we'll do joint ownership, or we'll do something like this. And the problem with that is that there are no terms and you didn't agree. Whenever you do a joint ownership, there's all kinds of stuff in there you didn't agree to, and you wouldn't agree to it if you knew what was going on. So what you want to do with any of this stuff is let's figure out what the deal is. How long am I willing to wait? 3 years, 5 years, 10 years? I don't know. Some number. What happens if sister dies? Does she have kids? Does it go to her kids? How do you work all that out? And the beauty thing is you can think about that. You can come to an agreement that's enforceable, right? What if you get hit by a bus? How do you know that your family's going to get the benefit of, their grandmother or your mother-in-law's, of their mother-in-law's house and stuff like that? How do you make sure that you can do all that with a trust? Okay. But it does take a thought. It's not just a fill in the blank situation, right? You gotta you gotta think about it. Yes, yes. Another reason. Now here's the other thing. Is the perhaps soon to be ex-husband, is he in the house? Hmm. The way it works is that inherited property is not to be considered marital property. Okay, not supposed to be. Yeah, well, I mean that's what the law says. But in every divorce negotiation, inherited property becomes an item. I mean it's inevitable. So it's just one more thing to get right. One more thing to be thinking about. Did your mom have a trust? Okay. And does the trust provide for well, you need to read the trust, okay? The way we do them, we always include setup for trusts for the kids, so you don't have to worry about divorce or whatever. Okay. Maybe there's, yeah. So we would want to look at the trust. That's all good. You can do what's called an agreement to alter shares. So even if it's the typical trust where it just says divide and distribute, you could do well, that music means I need to get out. If you want to hang around, we'll I can address this whether or not you're on the line. Okay. But if you'd like to hang on, that'd be just fine. Okay. All right. All right. Real good. Real good. You've been listening to the David Carrier Show. I'm David Carrier, your family's personal attorney. Welcome back to the David Carrier Show. I'm David Carrier, your family's personal attorney. Can you hear me, John? Okay. Well, the speaker thing here isn't working. So anyway, welcome back to the David Carrier Show. I'm David Carrier, your family's personal attorney. Give us a call. Why don't you 616-774-2424. I apologize for the what do you want to call it? The less than stellar quality. Where everybody's like, "Oh, enjoy your vacation." It's like I'm down in Florida. Yes, I'm in Florida, where it's raining constantly. Thank you for nothing. And I'm here chaperoning the high school marching band. So there you go. Not all of them. I've got 10 guys who are my special charge. But a vacation it is not. I would it's up to me. I wouldn't be doing it. But I'm having a wonderful time. My kids in the band, and so that's all. That's all great. So we apologize for the less than stellar technical quality. Trying to do this through the cell phone. Anyway, we were just talking to a gentleman who's now, and this is not unusual. Okay, it's not at all unusual for one of the family members to be living in the house, right? And frequently, when the family member is doing that, it's not a what do you call? You know, not everybody agrees with it. Put it that way. And so the when not everybody agrees, then the question is, well, what do we do about it? Frequently, probably as most of our eviction practice is we're evicting, the family, the holdover kid from the house. Now that is not what's going on here. And this is a situation where one of the family member, the sister who's using the house, sort of as a refuge, not able, from a divorce, possible divorce, we don't know. But then the question is, what do we do next? Frequently in these situations, what people will do is they'll say, well, we all own the house jointly. We'll deed it out of mom's trust and we all hold it jointly. And that seems like a good idea. So if one person dies, then the other ones get it. It seems like a good idea. It's really a terrible idea because there's no agreement. I was watching one of these ads on TV for a company that claims to do wills and trusts, right? Or trusts and wills or whatever. And it's so easy. It's the way you do it, just click, click, click. Listen, when I was in the military back in the 80s, we put together something like it was an automated thing for when soldiers would deploy so that they would have a basic will and powers of attorney. Okay, we were doing this stuff just like I'm watching the demonstration. It's exactly what we were doing, 40 years ago, 45 years ago. It's the same thing, right? But what hasn't changed, technology hasn't changed. It's different. You accomplish the same goal in a different way, right? But what has remained the same is the need for counseling. It isn't that easy. Everybody wants to, oh, we're doing it right. It's like you're doing it like in the worst way possible. Because what you're doing, and I haven't gone into their whole program. Maybe there's attorneys that help you out, people who actually know what they're talking about every step along the way. Or maybe it's the way they represent it in the commercial, which is, oh, just fill in the names and click, 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 and you're done. It doesn't work like that, okay? And you have an opportunity with this house. So mom dies, sister's living in the house, right? Mom taking care of the house while mom's in memory care. Now, mom has died. Three kids now would be owning the house. You can either face what's going on here and make a deal with sister. Okay, you can live in the house for a year, 2 years, 3 years, 5 years. I don't know, whatever deal you want to make. But you do it so that the house stays in trust. So if one of the other kids dies, they know that their family will get a share of that trust at a particular point in time. You have to think about this stuff. And it would be helpful if you had somebody who'd done it before. Oh, there's a shocking surprise. If somebody's done it before, then maybe they would know something about the ins and outs. And so often what happens in these things is, oh, we just put everybody on the house. Oh, that'll fix it. It won't fix it. It does. That's not a fix. That's a kick the can. That's a kick the can down the road, and it won't. So, what are you going to do in this situation? It depends, right? So you've got some cash. The beauty thing here, the great thing here, is you've got enough cash, and you've got enough house, right? So that everybody can come out whole, right? So let's say the total is 240,000. That's 80,000 each. Okay, there's enough cash here so that sister who's going through a difficult time, probably a divorce, it sounds like, but there's other difficult times in life. All right, and you've got enough, and nobody quote unquote needs the money. Well, you're entitled to the money. Okay, and here's the way Medicaid looks. You got to be thinking about this stuff. Somebody's got to be thinking about it because the way Medicaid works, and I got dinged on this. We had a case probably 10 years ago where they let where our client, right, whose husband got the dementia, right, she was entitled to receive from mom's house, right, but they kept the house in trust. His brother was living there, all right, and then they treated the house, half of the value of the house, as if it was cash in the bank. Well, it wasn't cash in the bank. Brother was this sort of situation. Brother's living in the house. Yeah, but under the trust, you could have gotten it, and you could have gotten it. And so then, as far as we're concerned, you did get it. Okay. So these are the sorts of things. Well, and what happened was they were denied the Medicaid. It cost them tens of thousands of dollars to be nice to brother who was still in the house. Okay. There are ways to fix these things. They can be done correctly so that at the end of the day, the whole family, everybody is happy with each other. These things don't have to go off the rails. You can do them so everybody's okay. But that's the bottom line. We've got Paul on the line. Paul, I understand you have a health savings account question. Oh, okay. So the question, so you got medical bills, you're making monthly payments or weekly payments from your HSA. Is that right? From your health savings account? Got it. I got it. And the medical bills are more than what you can put in the HSA. Is that right? Right. So they want more than you can pay. Is that correct? No, that's not correct. I mean, if you owe them $100, you say, look, I'll give you $5 a week. or $5 a month for the next 20 months, they can still take you to collections. They can still, they can still sue you to get the money. It's not like that. Now, would they do that? Would they do that? Um, possibly, possibly at least. They might, or they might just take your money and say, "Hey, well, at least he's paying us." Okay. It really kind of depends. Yeah, 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 yeah. Okay, all right. So you can only, all right. When we get back, the music means I got to get out. But when we get back, we'll knock it out, and then we got Laura on the line as well. Okay. All right. You've been listening to the David Carrier Show. I'm David Carrier, your family's personal attorney. Welcome back to the David Carrier Show. I'm still David Carrier, your family's personal attorney. We've got Paul on the line, and Paul's basic question, although it involves medical bills and a health savings account, but the basic question is, if you owe money to somebody or somebody's, sounds like we got a few medical creditors out there, um, and you offer them a certain amount of money, can they still proceed against you in court? And the answer is, yeah, they can. They don't have to accept your compromise offer. If you owe them $100 or $300 a month or whatever it is, if you're not, and they say, well, we'll take $300 a month, and you say, well, I don't have 300, I can pay you 200. They don't have to take that. They can go to court and all the rest. Now, here's the thing. Lots of times it's actually easier, you know, you still don't want to have a judgment against you and all that goes on your credit history. It's terrible. You don't want that. But frankly, when you're dealing not with the actual creditor, not with the actual person who you owe the money to, if you're dealing with or with the collection agency, they can be very, very hard nosed. What you want to do, this is always my goal, is I'd like to talk to the attorney who's got the case. Okay, so if we get to the point where we've got a case, you're being sued, you can usually work something out with the attorney. Now, the attorney's always got to get it approved by their principal, by the person you actually owe the money to. Okay, they got to get it approved. But still, in all, attorneys are used to making deals. Attorneys are used to, you know, giving you a little rhythm to figuring it out. And frankly, if by the time they got to the lawyer, right, then the creditor is figuring, well, I've already sunk X amount of dollars into this thing. So they may be more willing to compromise. So I'd keep on paying them. At least it shows good faith. At the same time, you might want to get it to the point where it is a litigation matter, because then the interest may be less. They may be piling on the interest and penalties. You may never get to the end of it if you're still paying according to the contract. But if you get to a case and we got a dollar amount that's a judgment, then it's subject to judgment interest, but at least you're not paying all that contract interest. And you may have someone on the other side more willing to deal. Okay. We've also got Laura on the line with a life estate question. Is that right, Laura? Yeah. Okay. He does not need Medicaid. Okay. I'd be very surprised if they don't care about it used to be that you didn't have a divestment penalty with some of the VA stuff. And now I think it's 3 years. I mean, he's allowed to have a certain amount, and then there'll be a subsidized rate at the home for vet. Is he at the home for veterans? Is that where he's at? Is he a 100% disabled, service-connected disability? Is that it? Well, yeah, I mean, if go ahead. The- I'm sorry. Yeah, let's assume. Yeah, so gotcha. So you're telling me don't worry about divestment for Medicaid or for VA. That doesn't matter. I say, okay, all right. I'm you give me my marching orders, I'll take them. So stepsister set up, uh, gave dad a life estate in certain real estate. And now the question is, now that dad's in the home for veterans, the question is, can or how really would we eliminate the life estate so that sister could sell stepsister could sell the house and because it was her house anyway. Yeah, and the answer is before the end of his life. Sure. The answer is a life estate is like any other interest in real estate. It is ownership, okay? And the way you transfer ownership of real estate is with a deed. So what dad would do, very simply, dad would do is he would quit claim deed the real estate back to back to your stepsister. And it's stepsister doesn't have to be involved. There doesn't have to be another or a different agreement or a contract or anything. A quick claim deed will be, and you don't even need to specify what the interest in the land is. Okay. I mean, you do have to specify the legal description, lot 23 of so and so subdivision or whatever. You have to do that because it's a deed. Um, but no, sister doesn't have to agree to accept it. Dad just have now when you do that, you have to file a property transfer affidavit, okay, because you are transferring real estate, and you just indicate that he's releasing the life estate. So if he was getting, I think what we discussed was that the reason he got a life estate was so that he could claim the principal residence exemption on the taxes. Well, obviously we're past that point now, right? And so you file a property transfer affidavit and what do they call it? They don't call it a release, but there's a form you fill out when you're releasing the principal residence exemption. Termination. Yeah, yeah. You terminate the yeah, we used to call it the homestead tax exemption, but now it's called a principal residence exemption. And so it's a notice of termination of principal residence exemption. Yeah, that's what you do. You're really pretty straightforward as far as that goes. Sure, sure. I mean, look. When it comes to who pays for getting it done, um, sure. Was dad renting the house? Was it like that or sure, sure. Yeah, yeah, yeah. I think that's a six of one, half dozen of the other as far as that goes. It's not going to be very expensive anyway, either way. So I'm kind of neutral on that one. But that music means I got to get out. But thank you, Laura. Thanks for calling back. Appreciate it. You betcha. You bet. Take care. You've been listening to the David Carrier Show. I'm David Carrier, your family's personal attorney. You get up every morning for the